government grants and other public funds. And this is what we have to do when we start electing local leaders. When we start electing local leaders, we got to tell them, see, you know, a friend of mine say, well, who speaks for the black people? Who speaks for the black people? Because we don't know what we want. We're too busy letting elected officials, activists tell us what we want, and we don't know what we want because we don't understand. It's like economics. Nobody we're not really taught finances in black neighborhoods. We don't understand the power. We don't understand what a credit score does. They shouldn't be around, but they are. So we got to deal with what we got, and those are the issues that we have. Hold on. Brian says I see it differently. It's all based on the judge on the bench. It's why knowing who your judges are, you can go to rehab, but if the judge doesn't consider it's useless. Right. And it sounds good, Brian, but how many of us go to rehab for it not to be considered? Don't get me wrong. And judges, most of them are elected officials also. We vote, which is why I said at some point when we find a judge who's doing something suspicious or questionable, we have to call his name out. So when it's time to vote for them, we don't keep voting for them. That's our issue. Black people don't look out for handouts politically. We don't. But the churches are the same way. And we have to be more cognizant and make certain demands. I asked one church official, why is it that you bring in politicians that you support? And I get it. You bring them in to meet your congregation. But when they fail the congregation, do you bring them back in to answer to that same congregation that they voted for them because you said so? And this is one of our issues. That has nothing to do with the judge. At some point, we have got to stop depending on somebody to do something for us when we don't even know what we want. You on Facebook, you see it. People want to blame Joe Biden for the crime bill. Joe ain't prosecuted nobody. Joe ain't locked nobody up. Joe did it at the behest of the black community. And instead of blaming the black community who went to him and asked him to do it, we blame him. Not the DAs, not the judges, not the mayors, not the sheriffs, not the police chiefs. Why is that? Because if you follow the history, and I have to keep giving this example, y'all got me so off topic. Marijuana is illegal at a federal level. In the city of Atlanta, you can smoke marijuana. Federal crime bills affect this. What's happening to most of us was here. Most of us don't even know federal criminals, but we want to keep acting like we do, and we don't. We don't have a clue about federal crime. But we do things, and it's easier to blame somebody than to become enlightened. Everybody woke, but don't nobody want to read. Oh, I seen 3 little videos where black women saying Joe didn't even apologize. Joe has apologized. He said he didn't understand the effects of it. But why does he have to apologize for something that he was asked to do? If my wife says, hey, I want a chocolate cake, and I give her a chocolate cake and she gets sick, how is that my fault? And this is where I'm confused with why we never want to take responsibility, because we either back the wrong activist or leader who tells us something to suit their agenda. And I've talked about them. When you got an activist who only shows up for the camera, or every time he shows up, he brings a camera, he's not active. He's not acting for you. He's acting to boost his own thing. And don't get me wrong, everybody got to get paid. I'm not even mad about that. But is what you're doing working? We will hold somebody else accountable for this. Joe was the agent of change, and in his crime bill, see, we missed the Violence Against Women Act. Joe helped a ton of our women who are being abused, but we don't want to discuss that. But the point is, we can't keep looking outside for somebody to help us who we know. We keep saying we know we not their interest. They need us to vote, which I'm confused about too, because technically we keep mentioning we're only 13.5%. And I say only in all caps, we're only 13.5%. But we can be effective. We have to be effective where we can be effective. Georgia is a Republican state, and it's crazy how many people don't realize that. They think the metro area is representative of Georgia. The metro area is representative of Atlanta. So yeah, we're gonna have a black mayor. We're gonna have a lot of black people in charge. But when you go 100 miles outside of the metro area, you're losing all that. Hey, when you go 50 miles, you're losing all of that. Atlanta is a small portion of the state of Georgia. The metro Atlanta area includes 7 counties. Seven. I forgot how many counties Georgia have. Hold on, I'm finna ask Google right quick. How many counties does the state of Georgia have? This is my assistant.
It's like 60 something.
Ge- Georgia has 159 counties.
Oh well, I guess I'm wrong.
159. Metro Atlanta is 7. There are 152 counties that are considered rural. Because everything outside, I mean, you could talk about Savannah, uh, and that may be a big city, but it's not. What other big cities are considered in Atlanta or in Georgia?
Columbus and Macon are the only other two.
Right, and Macon ain't that big, and consider this: bulk of the people who come here, if they ain't coming to Atlanta, you know where they going? They're going to where Atlanta Motor Speedway is. That's pretty much an all-white event. They pack that place out every time they have races there. I don't know if y'all ever watched a race. It's 99% white people. This is what they do. So, people keep saying, oh, how does Georgia always do this? Georgia is not a black state. The metro Atlanta is a black area, but Georgia is not a black state. So we have to understand that. But let me, okay, Roy said they kept their community center grant, and that's why churches don't press these people. Their pockets stay fat. Which, and understand, under most church charters, they can't speak out against the government. I had to do some research to see why they don't do stuff. Kevin Jackson, who's on the wrong page, you should be on Random Thoughts with DVP, says, let's not forget what our community looked like when the crime bill was passed, which is so important because most of y'all don't have a clue. Drugs had decimated black communities. They decimated. We were having drive-by shooting, little kids were getting shot. The only people who opposed that crime bill, one, either didn't live there or were drug dealers. Most people ain't opposed to that crime bill. It was needed. It was needed because, it's cute how we always holler we don't want the police, but with all them shootings that was going on, it was too much. He says, what I don't understand is why we as a people now want to have sympathy for those who sold crack in the community. And that's my whole point, Kevin. That is such a valid point. Why is it we feeling sympathy for the criminal? Because understand this. Understand this, and I ain't gonna stay on the crime bill long, but I had this conversation with somebody. Understand the difference between black crime and white crime. I was a cop. I can speak from firsthand experience. When anyway, Hirsch, you do no research, so I'm not even addressing you today. Um, when white people get robbed or somebody breaks in their house, they get charged. The first thing they start doing, the criminal's family start negotiating how much damage was done, how much is this. They work on a payment plan. So once they pay for all the damages and throw a little extra money in there, you know what they do? The victim is not as apt to pursue the crime. When somebody break in my house and they look like me, first of all, they're going to tell me some excuse about how hard their life was, how this, how that. But they don't want to pay for nothing. So guess what? We want to punish to the full extent of the law. See, we miss that because we don't know that narrative. But very few people say, hey, well, let me just pay for this. Let me pay for the damage. Let me do this. Let me do this. One of the initiatives that I discussed earlier in my plan for police reform was neighborhoods need to start having a court system for minor offenses. Now what you can do is, let's just say your community is, we'll just call it Gatewood Way. That's the name of your community. If little Johnny breaks Miss Mary's window, Gatewood community get their court together, their community court, and they punish little Johnny. Where he got to cut her grass for a month, he got to make some money and pay for that window. He stays out of the court system. Now, if little Johnny start committing felonies, that's different because the whole system. But we don't have to keep running little Johnny to the system for misdemeanors. Let him take care of his mistakes and keep him out of the system. That's something that communities can get together and start doing. But they got to work together because the reason that most cops don't like the community policing where they get to stay in a community, oh yeah, you get reduced rent, you get a lot of things, but what you don't get is peace of mind because people want to knock on your door. People are watching you. They're watching every little step you make, so you never have privacy. Even when you're off, you're on duty because somebody wants to come knock on your door to ask you a question. Somebody wants to come knock on your door because they need for you to settle a dispute. You never get to be off. It sounds great, and everybody's saying, "Oh, they should do that. They should do that." But there's a reason why it's not popular amongst cops. Who wants to work? Who wants to work or be on call 24 hours a day, but you still only getting paid this? Because at the end of the day, cops still want to get paid. They got bills. They got other stuff going. But this is the problem. What's up, Lee? This is the problem with how we look at things. We prefer to be the victim. It works for us. It works for us to cry and say that, oh, I didn't have a fair shake. Oh, Roy's life was this. Oh, Kevin's life was this. Oh, Brian this. This is why he had to commit crime. Um, like I was watching. Oh, why am I commenting this man? I was watching. I was watching something, and it's like, every time we say, "Oh, black people didn't have no planes," we forget the rest of the quote. But who held a gun to your head and made you sell crack, use crack, or any of the above? Because we all grown men. We all make our and this is what we all grown people. We all make our own decisions. Until we do something that we don't like, then we blame our circumstances. I grew up without a father in the house. You can't tell me I'm a unicorn, that I'm the only kid who could make it out. I joined the military because I wanted to get away from the drug scene, the gang scene, all of that stuff that I was deeply involved in. I ran to the military. Oh, I don't want to go to the military. So make this make sense to me. And I know, Roy, you got your thing on mute, but Roy can hear me because y'all can't talk to me right now. You would rather go to jail than the military? Make that make sense to me. If you ain't blessed enough that you can go to college.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna
Why?
happen. Because
Why
I was always
go ahead.
against, I was always against going to the military, just because I didn't like being told what to do. But guaranteed, if it wasn't an option for me to go to college, I'd have been right on my way. So I'd have been on my way to somebody's military to get, like you said, just to get out of the situations and stuff that I had seen.
What's up, Raven? And to me, that's the thing, because it ain't that hard to get into the military. So if you chose not to go, what did you do that you couldn't go to the military to avoid this life of crime that you want me to be okay with? You want me to be okay with you stealing my shit that I worked hard for. You want me to be okay with you raping my daughter. You want me to be okay with you hitting my wife over in the head to get some money. What's up, Dre? You want me to be okay with all this, and then you want me to feel sympathy for you. I got two words for you. Hell no. Nah. I ain't got no sympathy for you because I don't understand what it is you're trying to get me to understand why I should let you steal my shit. And no, I don't want you to get probation. I want your ass to go to jail. I want you, all y'all, if you old enough to remember the crime bill in reality, then you old enough to remember Beretta. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. It's dumb. What's up, Darren and Crystal? It's dumb. It's absolutely stupid for you to compare your crime to another person's crime. So you did wrong and you want to be judged for your wrong like somebody else is wrong. That is stupid. That's not that, Roy, you did political. Come on back, Roy. Is that what affirmative action was about? Getting everybody sentenced equally? Is that what? Because I didn't study that part, Roy. So see what I did? I'm speaking about something I don't know. So I'm going to a political expert. Roy, is that what affirmative action was about? Help me out.
No, it was not. It was. I mean, overall, it was primarily dealing with jobs and opportunities in different areas is what people were
Trustees got
looking
jobs in
at.
prison, Roy, so that don't count.
I don't know what a trustee is.
A trustee is an inmate worker.
Oh, okay, yeah, nah,
That's the inmate worker.
it's not the same thing. And see, this is so like I said, I was actually on a discussion last night, man, on JT show, classic conversation. Shout out to the man JT. I stopped in there with him and my frat brother Angelo, and it was talking about some stuff, man. And to tie that into what you're talking about, what we have to realize is, like you said, it's we all make choices. I saw people who, especially living in Miami, I saw people who were in the drug game. Like I knew this one cat that went to high school with me, and and it's I almost well, no, I don't because this was then. I actually had um, much respect for this cat. Why did I have much respect for this cat? Because this dude did not sell drugs in the neighborhood. he would not sell drugs, and he didn't sell drugs in Overtown. He didn't sell drugs in Liberty City. He didn't say he wasn't. We have to be flashy. We can't just want to do something to claim that we're trying to get better. We're trying to do things, and we got to be out in the open. We as a culture started glorifying drug dealers and making them heroes, is what we started doing. And
Right.
this guy, he was doing. He even so we sat down and talked a couple of times. He was doing it because he was trying to get his people out of it. He had an old beat up Chevy, and he was doing it. But see where he was going at, he was going out there to North Miami Beach. He was selling to white folks. He wasn't standing on the corner. He was making deliveries. He was, people were coming to him. He wasn't out in the open. We want to be able to be the big ballers and do all the gangster stuff. That's why all our music people are named after, or all these music companies came up, were named after
Right.
mafia groups and all this kind of stuff. Because everybody wants to be the gangster now. That's what that. If you think about it, I mean, look at all of these murder inks and all these other people names that they came up with for these groups of people.
Exactly.
And you sitting, like you said, you get mad because now I want you prosecuted. Oh, don't snitch, nigga. You shot my grandmama, and I'm not gonna
And, and
snitch.
and the crazy part is the mafia was undercover. They wasn't putting it out there who they
Right,
were like that.
right.
So we screwed up the game, and then we want people to forgive us for being ignorant. Oh, well, I didn't have the same advantages. Everybody had a choice about going to the military. I ain't want to be in the military.
And
Okay, so you got another choice.
and hold up, and let me clarify something too. Back then, anybody could still get into the military. You can't do that now.
Right.
Now it's a lot harder. But back in the '80s, in the '70s, '80s, and '90s, anybody could get into
Yeah.
the military. Then they was
Yeah.
taking any and everybody. I know
So
they
when
tried to get me.
we sit back and we keep whining, and you don't like when somebody tell you that you're whining. But I grew up in the hood. I grew up without a father. I was raised by a single parent. I was in the game. I got out the game, and I became a productive citizen. So yeah, I'm not hearing none of that you saying. And if we're going to sit here and say the crime bill affected us adversely, no, crime affected us adversely. If you didn't want to go to prison, you had a choice, because everybody who keep talking about, oh, this, name somebody that the crime bill affected adversely, unfairly. Just name somebody. Because if they was guilty, then we're not going to have this conversation. Because I can speak on the people that I know. I don't know anybody who was stealing candy from the 7-Eleven like we was doing. They got 10, 15 years. Most of the people who got a lot of time, what up, Lyle, were doing criminal shit, and they got criminal punishment.
Wasn't one of the
So,
tenets wasn't one of the tenets of the major tenets of the crime bill was the whole three strike thing. That's when you got the longer sentence after your third strike, right?
right, but
So that
even
means
then, it was
you
it
got
was for
three
violent
felonies,
crime.
right? That's
Yeah,
what I was about to say. You got three felonies at that point.
right, but they were either violent crimes or predatory crimes, and that's how the violence against women thing came. But the three strikes wasn't going for DUI people. It wasn't going for felony shoplifters. Hell, most burglars wasn't even getting it. And so we keep saying these things, but when we're being honest, which you guys don't really like, where you from the hood, right?
Yeah,
Can you say that you don't know nobody from the hood who kept getting away with shit? You're like, damn, how ain't that guy in jail? Why is he always out of jail? Because we all had that neighborhood criminal who was not just a thief. He was doing shit. People were scared of him, but he stayed out on the street. The crime bill didn't affect him. I don't know why it didn't, but we all know this guy. Now, are there some people who are unfairly punished? You show me a punishment that doesn't fit the crime, then we can talk about it. I don't care if little Johnny got 8 years for murder and Boo Boo the Fool got 25. Because what you don't know is the inner workings of the case. And see, this is what we speak unintelligently. Because when you're trying to work out deals with people and they become arrogant or brash, and what I tell y'all, that's what cost Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby never showed remorse. He got punished for that. Had he said, I was sorry, I was in a different place, because they always look for you to show some kind of remorse. When you stand defiant, You get punished for that defiance. Look at all the white boys who got 120 years. Look at how they acted in court. Look at the ones who talking about, hey man, when I get out, I'm gonna do it again. Just 120 years for you. See, we do the same stuff, but people don't know this. They don't know this because they're not there, and and so they don't understand because they haven't taken the time. As Roy challenged the listener last week, who still ain't done it, read the crime bill. Go back and read the newspapers and see what was going on in our neighborhoods. Why we needed it. Why we needed it was very much needed. And understand this for those of y'all who love to throw racist term up every time you talk. If it was about pure racism, they would have never enacted the crime bill. They would have sat back and let us kill each other in our
Yeah,
own neighborhoods.
exactly. I was
See,
just saying
so
we was
that
killing each other.
mentality is stupid because we were knocking each other off at record clips. They could have just sat back and watched their numbers grow and watched our numbers shrink. I don't need it. Hey, man, let them folk back out on the street. Let them kill us back out. They doing us a favor. But y'all don't understand what it is y'all speak of. So when you do that, you become more talk toable because you don't understand what you're talking about. You're speaking, as one of my callers said earlier, you're speaking with pure emotion, no factual data because you weren't there. Right. Um, right, Sam. Sam says parts of the crime bill were adopted by the states. Drug dealers are not being brought up on federal charges. Because that's a whole game changer. Again, as a cop, I know this because when I did my raids, drugs was cute. But you know what I always look for? I look for bullets. Because the Fed law say 5 years of bullet. It got updated. But the Fed say you get 5 years of bullet if there's drugs. See, I know what Paul Howard wasn't gonna do. Paul Howard was gonna negotiate you. But if I could find bullets or guns and the drugs, I would make a call to the federal prosecutor and say, hey, I got a pound of weed, but I got a 22 automatic with 7 rounds. See, so now when I'm getting ready to interview the criminal, see, I got 35 years to negotiate with, and the feds don't do parole. They don't do probation. You gonna do this 35 years? They 5 years of bullets. So I'm counting these bullets like, hey, you know what this say? Which is why a lot of drug dealers stopped carrying guns. They knew that it would become a federal charge, and you could take your case easy to the feds. The feds ain't trying to. They weren't trying to do all these drug cases. You had to be. Then you had a whole nother set of mandatory minimums for the feds to want them. But we don't know all of this because we speaking with nothingness. We want to blame somebody else for somebody being a criminal. We want to blame somebody else. Roy is a criminal because of this. Samuel is a criminal because of this. We don't want to just blame Samuel for being an asshole and a criminal. I ain't, saying we cool. Roy, we don't want to just blame Roy. We are making excuses for criminals. When do we stop making excuses for people who don't belong in our society, who don't belong in our neighborhoods? You know, people will criticize me and say, why are you always coming down hard on black people? Because I expect more. And scratch that. Ixnix that. I demand more from black people who want to claim that they're helping us. So yeah, if I see a predator in the midst, when I did the show about drug dealers being no different than they're committing genocide because most of them selling to their own kind. They're harming their own kind. There's only a few drug dealers who, like Roy said, his friend was, that sell outside the community. So if you're killing your community, what's the term for killing your own people, Roy? You smarter than me. You're a college boy. Ain't that what genocide is? Is that what's the term?
Well, I mean, genocide is the killing of a group of people.
Okay, so yeah, so then that's it. They doing genocide because they killing their own people though, for money and for glory and for fame. And you want me to go for the fact that ain't no black people got planes to bring it over here? Again, who in the hell is holding a pistol to your head to make you a drug dealer or a drug user? Roy, you a crackhead?
Not last time I checked.
Sam, are you a crackhead? What make them unicorns? What make me a unicorn? Uh, Rutledge says the crime bill affected people convicted of 3 separate instances of violent felony convictions, not 3 counts. Okay, which is totally different, and that's a legal thing. That means you had to be 3 separate times. 3 separate times. You couldn't shoot Roy, me and Sam all in the same day because that's even though that's 3 counts, not 3 instances. They got good. Good. See, this is what people read and they come up with more. This is, but none of us became crackheads or crack dealers. So what made us so special? Because we not that special. We regular people. We regular people. But we want everybody else to hold us in a higher value than we hold ourselves. We want everybody else to treat us like we special while we continue to do dumb shit and blame anybody who don't accept our woe is me attitude. That's not finna happen. That to me is the dumbest shit going. Again, the answer to the question is hell no. Hell no. So So when we talk about this, and this is why I tell people, you don't have to like me, you don't have to agree with nothing I say. Just read the bill. Roy challenged somebody last week. Read it before you complain about it. Don't be a Russian bot and just repeat what everybody else is saying. See, truly, I'm not a 45 fan, but I will give him his credit. I will give him his credit. And I bet all y'all can agree with me on this. What, who made us more politically educated? Because we didn't get educated with Obama. We voted for Obama. We sat back and we kept clapping. He didn't have the Senate, which is why he couldn't get a lot of stuff done. So when you complain about what Obama couldn't do, remember, we didn't vote to get him the Senate. Who would help him out? Look at how easy 45 gets stuff passed because he has the Senate on his side. What we did was we got Obama a Lamborghini and we kept telling him to use regular gas. Lamborghinis won't use regular gas and run very long, very smooth. We have to know what we doing. Sam said, I just stay focused on my goals. See, a lot of us chose not to be dealers. We chose. We made adult decisions and we stood by them. So why would I give somebody a pass who chose to want to take advantage of me because I worked my way to my stuff? That's just dumb. But and this is part of the reason, the title of the show, why you can't discuss religion, sex, and politics with everybody else. Because this is a political issue, and I'm so tired of seeing activists and woke people and all these fake Israelites who keep blaming everybody else for our plight. In this day and age, with social media and everybody and their mama got a smartphone now, for you not to be able to get information is because you don't want information. But we sitting back asking for we. I'm sitting back. People won't. They won't Biden to apologize. I don't want y'all to get mad at me. But how many of y'all mamas apologize to y'all for showing y'all a picture of their white Jesus? What does he got to apologize for? He's been trying to do better. He got the Violence Against Women Act. Whether y'all like it or not, read the whole crime bill. But why does he owe us apology for something he didn't initiate? I'm not going to apologize to Trina for bringing her a cake that she asked for that made her sick. She asked for the cake. Go by here and get it. Go by, boom. Oh, it wasn't no good. What you asked for? Oh, I'm sorry. I got you what you asked for. No, no, no. And even when it comes to religion, Lyle, who's on the wrong page, by the way. Lyle was my host for a long time. Lyle believes in religion way more than I do. But you know what? Lyle never pushed me about his religion. I never pushed him about being religious. If being religious makes him a better person and makes his day go by smoother and causes him to do the right things, then that's all I can do. Because I can appreciate his differences and what makes him tick. When people want to tell you what you should do because it's what they do, they are being totally disrespectful of you and your choices. Barbara, one of my favorite people who like to argue with me, we got lots of differences of opinion. We ain't got the name calling. Barbara ain't got to think my way. I ain't got to think her way. See, this is where you have to be a grown up and realize one, Barbara's a woman. Her perspectives aren't like my perspectives. We're both black, but we didn't grow up in the same place. So her perspective, her life story is different from my life story. Samuel Jewett's life story is different from mine. There is no way we have walked the same path. So I did something. It turned out this way. Sam did the same thing. It turned out that way. We got two different experiences. It don't make neither one of us right or wrong. These are our life experiences. So how we feel about it is how we feel about it. Samuel can't tell me I'm wrong for how I feel about certain things that he never experienced. I can't tell him he wrong for feeling certain ways. Since I tell that to people all the time, the crime bill did not lock people up. People on the corners doing dumb shit got them locked up. He didn't say dumb shit. I said it. But that's it. If you don't want to go to jail, If you don't want the crime bill to be part of what you were doing, don't do crime. Like I said, most of y'all know to remember brother, and most of y'all watch brother. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Boom. End of story. End of story. Don't do it. Then you ain't got nothing to worry about because most of us didn't know nothing about the crime bill. You know why? Most of us didn't care. We weren't criminals. See, if I ask Roy, just because of here, if I ask Roy about certain what kind of music they play at orchestras? What's the name of that music, Roy? Classical music. If I ask Roy about certain classical songs, Roy gonna look at me like I'm crazy. That's not his specialty. So he don't know a bunch. Do you know a bunch of classical songs? I don't want to put you on the spot, Roy.
I say you looking all the wrong way, dude. You got to look
Yeah, well,
overseas.
cause
See, you
yeah,
trying to
but
figure
do
out
you?
which area. No, I don't. I don't know a lot of
Right.
classical
So
music. I know a lot of
right,
classical composers, but that's it.
right. So if I start quizzing Roy on classical, if I tell Roy, I got this thing and I'm doing classical music, Roy ain't gonna care because that ain't his field. So he ain't gonna need to know nothing about it. Same way with the average person, they didn't need to know nothing about the crime bill because they weren't criminals. We weren't criminals, so we had no interest in it. Wasn't gonna affect us at no level. Now, now, see, every time I see one of them commercials about baby powder and the problems it caused, I ain't never used baby powder other than putting it in my shoes because it's supposed to serve. I don't know nothing about the women problems that it had. I wasn't a woman, so why would I know about this? So we got to get past this, and we got to respect people's differences of opinion. Just because you don't like their scenario, Robert Stafford, one of my aces, who won't come on my show, even though I have sent him a personal invitation, but that's a story for later. We played football together. We grew up in different hoods, but we ended up being in the same place at the same time. A lot of our teammates were doing things that were questionable. Went to jail, got out, came back. I'm sure more than one of them went to jail more than twice. The crime bill didn't affect them, and I know a couple of them had felonies. But you know what? A lot of them did. They turned their life around because they got tired of getting locked up. See, that's a grown man thing. Don't fuss about the system. Don't fuss about the system.
Remove
Get out
yourself
of the
from it.
system. Life is kind of simple. But again, we don't want to respect people's different opinions. So we have these issues. And they start with religion. Like I said, Lyle did what he did. Robert Robert sing gospel music. I don't knock him. That makes them better people. Anything that's gonna make you a better person, I'm gonna clap for you. By religious standards, I'm a heathen. But guess what? Robert and Lyle don't judge me based on that. We still cool. They don't tell me. They ain't neither one of them never told me I need to start going to church. I need to start praying because they know that that's not what I'm about. They respect my differences like I respect their differences. I ain't never told them when they said they was gonna pray for something. I ain't never said to them, "Man, why you praying? Prayer don't work." Because that would be judgmental and bigoted. Because I want to put my belief on them based on my experience. If Robert prayed and he prayed, shout out to Robert. His son is Lil Nas X, who keeps setting records. If Robert prayed for his son to break to break records and stuff, and that happened, then he's got a right to believe what he believes. I can say whatever I want to, but in Robert's world, if his prayer did that, then that's what he's got to believe, and he's good for going with that theory. I can't knock him for that. But that's why we can't talk about religion because everybody want to tell you. I'm sorry. A lot of religious people want to. They're overbearing. They want to tell you what you got to do, what you should do, how this will happen, how that will happen. And it's a fight that ain't. It's a fight that ain't gonna be won if it ain't had by intelligent people who are willing to listen to both sides. You got different religions. Some believe different things. One of the greatest things about being in the military for me is I got a chance to live with different religions and see how people live and see what it is they truly thought. I don't judge nobody for their religious beliefs. They just don't work for me. But we're not in the same place at the same time. where it affects our relationships, our finance, or anything else. So I don't concern myself with it like that. But again, Robert and Lyle don't push theirs on me. I don't push mine on them. I'm gonna say sex for last because y'all ain't ready for that. But it's the same thing with politics. Like I said, I know some people who are voting for 45. I personally don't agree with it. But guess what? I had a chance to vote. And guess what I did with my vote? I voted for who I wanted to vote for. Roy had a chance to vote. Guess what? Roy can vote for who he want to vote for. Because if I'm preaching, um, your slaves died for this, go vote. Not your slaves, I'm sorry. Your ancestors died for this. Your ancestors didn't tell you who to vote for. So they wanted you to have the right to vote, to let your voice be heard. And yeah, let me just say this for you dumbasses. Yes, one vote in and of itself does not count. It's kind of like being a millionaire. $1 does not count, but without that first dollar, you never get to a million. And none of us have truly, truly independent thoughts that nobody else shares on big stuff. Somebody share your thought process. So let's stop thinking that we're all so unique. Oh, I'm gonna say something. I know don't nobody agree with me, just so you can get likes and shit. Stop the madness. I know most things I say somebody's gonna like it. I know most things I say somebody's not gonna like it, but I'm not finna sit here and just beg for likes because it's a waste of time. But when we start getting into politics, I don't live in Atlanta, but I'm gonna use this for an example. I voted for Mary Norwood, or Robert voted for Keisha Bottom. We voted for two different people. So now we got to fight. Now I'm threatening. Hey man, we ain't gonna be friends if you don't vote. One, you don't know who I voted for in the first place. But what you're saying to me is if I don't publicly announce my allegiance to you, then we ain't gonna be friends. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like anybody that y'all might know? It's politics. Let people do what they want to do. It's their vote. It's their vote. And looking at the way that we live, where we like to be told what to do, where we like to be oppressed, I understand why a lot of people want to vote for 45. We like that because it gives us an excuse not to have to try. It gives us an excuse. And I've learned we love excuses. Anything to keep me from trying to better myself. Anything. Because that's what we do. So we have got to get past that portion of the game and do a little bit better. If we want to be respected, we got to know what we want. And I'm going to stick to this. In every neighborhood of color, we need mental health facilities. We need rehab centers. Start asking for those so that we can get the help we need at affordable prices. Because I can tell you up front, them rehab centers up north, they not cheap at all. They getting their money's worth. But you know what people will do to stay out of prison? Their families will pay that money to keep their people out of prison so that they can continue on with a fruitful and prosperous life. See, money talk. One way or another, money talk. But we want to skip that portion of the show because it means that we got to do something. It means that we have to think beyond hair salons and barber shops and wing shops. And I ain't knocking you for having a business, but I am because what is it? The shooting just happened in Philadelphia, right, Roy? So the shooting just happened in
Yes.
Philadelphia,
And
and in
they
that
called
same
out three
neighborhood where it
days.
happened,
I mean,
but,
three times in that day.
but where are they looting? They're looting in the neighborhood. So whose shit are they tearing up? They tearing up shit that affects them. I know the white man made them do it because after that they stopped selling black people gas. So, and again, I'm not preaching violence. I'm just preaching reality. So once the white man stopped selling them gas, they couldn't drive somewhere else and tear up other people's shit. They want to stay in their neighborhood and tear up their own shit, so that now when it's time for when you knock out the neighborhood drugstore because you being dumb and shit, now my son can't get his medicine. I got to go out of the community to get some. So now who you think I'm pissed with? You think I'm more pissed about the shooting or more pissed about my people and they doing something? But you tearing up my shit. You tearing up shit that affects me and my family. So you know what? Take your dumb ass to jail. Take your dumb ass to jail. What's up, Randy? Really, like politics is a choice for you. However, be well read, not what you write. Be well read. Have some knowledge about your subject, but look at what we do and how quick we are to blame other people. Because there was peaceful protesting up until I think the lady said about 9:30. That's when the looting started. That's when they started throwing the firebombs and breaking buildings and trying to get in. So this is what happens in a nutshell. For those of y'all who don't know how business works, when you own a business, the little thing called insurance, kind of like with your car or anything else. And I'm just using raw numbers. All insurance comes with premiums. All insurance comes with deductibles. When you build in some black neighborhoods, your premium is much higher. So is your deductible. But to make it so that you can afford to do business there, what you do is you take a higher deductible, which means if something happens, you pay more up front. Most of the time, what they agree to take out up front is what they can't afford. Like one lady was talking about, her deductible was like 20 grand. She don't have 20 grand saved up. So you know what that means? She's not going to reopen her business. Oh, they got insurance. Do you know how insurance works? Do you know why when some people have a rate, they don't call the insurance? Because it's just cheaper to pay for the, you know, some people got a $500 deductible for their car insurance. Some people got a $5,000 deductible. With the $5,000 deductible, your payments are cheaper. They cheaper. But you hope nothing don't happen because you still ain't got the 5 grand. But your payments are cheap. You get a $500 deductible, your payments, they not as cheap. Rutledge says it wasn't about the shooting. Anger never made him steal hair weave. But ain't you bald, Rutledge? Stop playing. You probably stole some shine so you can get your shine on. But this is how we look at stuff, and then we get mad for people who try to educate us on what we're doing because we don't want to hear it because it doesn't jive with what we go for. It goes against us. It means now you're trying to make me stand up and be. You're trying to make me be an adult. You're trying to make me be responsible. That ain't what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. So let me fuss, because I can fuss about the white man not giving me opportunity. I can fuss about the white man making me do dumb stuff, all the while I'm claiming I'm a grown ass man and I run this, but I'm still making bad decisions. But ain't damn bad decision I ever made mine. My fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Always. Why you running that stop sign? Man, shit. White man was trying to keep me from getting where I need to go. So now you gotta pay a $50 ticket. See? If I were white, he would have let me go. If you're white and saw the police right there, you wouldn't have ran the stop sign. As Judge Hatcher said, there's a thing called stupid tax. When you do stupid shit, you end up paying the cost for it. We like to do stupid shit and blame everybody else. Don't get me wrong. There are times when the system is totally against us. Totally. But as far as the crime bill goes, unless you can point out some people who were not guilty, and this includes those of us who choose to hang around with other people thinking that they're gonna take the fall for us. When they do something, they're gonna say, oh no, you know, Roy, can you give me a ride to the store? Roy was like, yo, where we going? I was like, yeah, man, just take me up the street right quick. Roy come and get me, take me to the store. I go in there and rob the store. Of course, when we leave, they get Roy tag number. They come back, and when the police go to Roy, because that's the only thing they can identify as his car, Roy gonna say, I was with D. He told me to take him to the store. I don't know nothing about it. They gonna say, Roy, you was driving the getaway car. Roy gonna say, I don't know nothing about it. He gonna call D. He gonna say, D police over here talking about we robbed the store. What was that about? I ain't gonna say shit. Cause I don't know if her phone tap. So the police come to me and they be like, yeah, you robbed this store, da da da. Roy done told, cause Roy ain't trying to go to jail right now. Is D gonna stand up and do the honorable thing and say, nah, I just asked Roy to give me a ride. He didn't know nothing about it. Now, come me and Roy, aces. We down like that. Misery love company. Roy waiting on me to tell the truth. Roy is telling his truth. But his truth don't mean nothing until I verify it. Because the fact is, his car was there. Who asked Roy to drive that car? His friend. His friend to the end. So now Roy gonna get caught up under this crime bill shit, even though it's gonna be it's a first offender. But he gonna get his first strike, and he gonna study. He gonna swear when he gonna swear he ain't had nothing to do with it. And this is one of them times. It ain't the system. It's Roy friends. Cause you know what Roy can't do. There is no way in hell Roy can prove he didn't have nothing to do with that unless I say he didn't. Because his car was there. He's driving that car. He fucked around and admitted that it was his car. And he took me to the store. So now he got a hope that he got a great bunch of officers who gonna go for his story. Because you know what? People who do go and get caught still say the same thing that Roy just said. So when Roy say, I wouldn't lie about this, which is a favorite phrase of liars, he checking off every box that description. Because you know what guilty people learn how to do? They learn to talk like innocent people. So you know what that in turn does? It makes innocent people look guilty. Because guilty people got a little playbook. Oh man, I wouldn't do that. I swear on my mama. I swear on my kids. Man, nah, I wouldn't do that. Shoot, man, I love my black people. I would never do something like that. I wouldn't use my friend. Well, were you in the car with Roy when he robbed? Man, listen. See what had happened. I was in the car with Roy, but did Roy have anything to do with it? Do it what? Hey, I want a lawyer. But what I won't do, and this has happened too many times in my career, the active person will not clear his friend. So guess what happened to Roy? Whether Roy like it or not, Roy guilty of a crime that he didn't know shit about because his friend, not the white man, his friend, not Joe Biden, his friend, not the governor or the mayor, his friend, not the judge, would never say he didn't have nothing to do with it. Never.
Which is exactly why the next time I see my friend, I'm whooping his ass.
You're gonna see him in the courtroom.
And I'm gonna whoop his ass in the courtroom.
But and under the law, Samuel, technically he's not. To be an exception, you gotta know. You're supposed to
Right,
know,
you have to
which is
know.
why it's so important that his friend takes him out of that loop. If the friend won't, then Roy can't never get out of that loop because there's nobody who can verify Roy's story. Nobody. Roy is a unicorn unto himself, saying what all guilty co-conspirators say. I didn't know nothing. I didn't do nothing. I didn't know nothing. I didn't do nothing. And every time they ask me, I need a lawyer. I'm not talking no more without my lawyer. And guess what? When I get my lawyer, guess what my lawyer's only concern is?
You?
Me. And I'm just using Roy in this situation. Chances are Roy ain't got no money for an attorney. Roy don't want to get an attorney. Roy don't see why he need an attorney. Because his friend is gonna take care of this. Roy done already got his car impounded because it was part of a crime. So now he ain't got no car. He's still waiting on his friend to get him out to say something. But me and Roy aces. Who Roy gonna blame? The crime bill, Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Mayor Norwood, Judge Hatchett. He gonna blame everybody but his friend. Man, they could have gave you a break. They ain't see you. Hell, they didn't see him until they got the inside tape. But the getaway driver is known now. Cause when they came, Roy admitted he was driving the car because Roy didn't know nothing was wrong. Roy was doing what innocent people do. Acting like a guilty person, acting like an innocent person. See, but who created that profile? Guilty people who didn't want to go to jail. See, so when you understand, it ain't that they want to put everybody in jail, Samuel. He just need an alibi not to put you in jail. A lot of times there's no alibi. A lot of times there is no alibi. See, I'm gonna give you a personal for instance. I had somebody who was trying to get me locked up. I went and lived somewhere I didn't want to live because when I stayed at my house alone, I didn't have an alibi. When the police would come to my house and they would say, "How long you been here?" and I had to open my hood of my car so they could see how hot my motor was. I didn't like living like that, but if I went and got me a roommate that I didn't want to do, I had a consistent alibi, somebody who could say I was with them. What's going on, Gayla? And the DA gonna put everybody in jail. Who? Hell, the DA is there to prosecute. The people who got robbed at the store, they think Roy's a part of it. So guess what? They want Roy to go to jail. They want me to go to jail. The DA just doing what they supposed to do based on the evidence that they have, and that's what we don't want to look at. The evidence as it presents itself. Evidentiary speaking, Roy is guilty. Roy's car was there. Roy admitted he was there driving said car, which makes him a co-conspirator of a crime. And in Georgia, you get to the same crime. They don't even use that accomplice or accessory no more. You get to the same crime. But Roy never knew. Roy never knew. So now, because Roy ain't even a criminal, I'm finna tell the story about what Tracy just said. Listen, I was minding my own business. Roy said, hey, this what we need to do. He said, I'm going to drive you up there. You run there and get the money. I'm going to drive us off. So Roy was the mastermind behind this whole thing. Now Roy 38 hot, but Roy still can't prove he don't know nothing. And since Roy didn't know nothing, he can't even throw me under the bus because he don't know that I did nothing. So he can't say, yo, my boy D robbed that place. Because if he say I robbed the place, then that makes him an accessory because he knew that I robbed the place. So Roy can't even say that. So his innocent ass gonna go to jail. He gonna go to prison. Exactly. It ain't what you do, it's what you can prove. Roy ain't got no proof that he's innocent. Not a lick.
And I got a question. I wonder. This, of course, is a speculative type situation, but I wonder how many of those situations actually happened in our community over the past 30 years, especially from the start of the crime bill. That
And, and
people
I
do
would
that, man.
and I would tell you it's common. And that's why I tell
Yeah.
people, that's why our parents are so about who we hang out with. Because we don't understand. Most of us don't have true criminal tendencies. So we don't understand the criminal mindset. Most of us, we want to argue with our parents and tell them how great our friends are. They seen the system. Survival is the most basic instinct. When something threatens your survival, you know what you do? You protect yourself. What's the best way to protect yourself? To throw somebody else up under the bus. That is the best way. And you know who is the best people to throw up on the bus? Innocent people, because they're not prepared for this lifestyle. Roy can't give an answer that's going to ever satisfy them. Roy might be able to show them a text that said, I say, hey man, can you take me to the store? Roy will say, see, he asked me, and I say, well, you sent him the text. I'm going to say, yeah, he called me and told me to send it to him. I ain't know what it was about, but shit, whatever, I ain't think nothing of it. It happens quite a bit. This is how innocent people get caught up in the system, and everybody blames the system, but nobody blames the friend, the criminal mastermind behind it all, who didn't want to go to jail alone. That is the insane part. That is the insane part because we won't hold each other accountable. We'd rather blame somebody else. And and it's sad. I've seen it in my career. And I say, dude, you have got to come up with something because I can't dismiss you because the people saw you. They saw you in a car, but I ain't had nothing to do with it. That's what you're saying, but that ain't what your friend is saying. If you can get your friend to say that he didn't have nothing to do with it, then we can go somewhere. But I'm telling you, the prosecutor ain't gonna go for your innocent version. That happens way too often. And who gets to blame? The system. Well, I take a lot to take the test. They don't usually let it take the test in criminal courts cases. One, because they're too easy to influence. Lie detectors only work for people with a conscience, and you can feign fear and easily pass one, or you can easily fail one. It's a system. It's just not reliable, and this is what breaks down our conversation. And when people want to say how bad cops are, they don't ever want to talk about how bad friends are. Y'all don't make me change my whole topic. I'm supposed to be talking about religion, sex, and politics, but we're here now. Let's just continue on with this process. So when I try to break down and give people what it's really like, because I'm a cop, I've done these investigations, I've seen what happens. People don't want to address it. Oh, I can't do nothing. I gotta follow the facts. This ain't personal. This is business. Am I gonna lock Roy up if I'm a cop? Absolutely. Roy was the first person identified. Roy was the first link. His friend can get him out of jail. His friend refuses to. Who am I supposed to believe now? Who am I supposed to believe? When I go back to his friend and say, "Hey man, Roy ain't never been locked up," I'm thinking it's sure. Yeah, he just ain't never got caught. It's just too much. It's too much. And this is what happens. And this is how so many things happen. But we never want to blame the culprits. We want to blame outside sources for everything that they had no control over. They did their job. Then we get mad at them. We mad at, we, I use that term very loosely. We're mad at Keisha, not Keisha. We're mad at Kamala Harris for doing her job. Kamala Harris didn't prosecute nobody that cops didn't lock up. Do cops lock up innocent people? Yes. Do cops make bad? Do cops make mistakes? Yes, they're human. How many of them are actually egregious? And that's what you have to look at. It, how many times truly do we have, and I know there have been some because I've testified where cops plant evidence. I got that. But the cases I've been looking at lately where people call me and ask me, and I make a few phone calls and I get the camera. The camera ain't saying what you saying to me, Shawty. The camera says you're guilty. Ain't they gotta tell me if they filming me? What? That's your answer to me telling you you're guilty? They gotta tell why you figure they gotta tell you? What law is that? In the state of Georgia, let me just kick this out there. In the state of Georgia, people, only one party has to okay the taping of other people, and that party has to be part of the tape. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies especially, a guy can make a sex tape with you in it as long as he's part of the tape. He does not need your permission. He does not need to tell you. He does not need to ask you. All he got to do is be in the tape. That is the law in Georgia. Now, other places are different, but I know Georgia law. There are other places, if y'all ever call some of these places and they tell you that you're being recorded, it's because they doing that because they either call other places or places call them, so they do it to be on the safe side, so that they ain't never caught recording in a state where it says that you got to record. But in Georgia, they ain't got to tell you they recording. It's the law, and people love to quote the law. Excuse me, and they love to quote laws that they've never even read. Read them, read them. Then come at me and ask me questions. But don't tell me how you feel. Don't tell me what you think is wrong. Don't tell me how that law should be done away with. It ain't. It's current. You violated it. You got to go from there. Okay. And what time is it? Oh goodness, it's 17. So when we're speaking on politics, and people don't want to read what the crime bill says. They don't want to read what the crime bill did. They don't want to read how the crime bill came to be. They just want to react to something that happened in the 90s, not knowing. Yeah, again, Biden been in the Senate 47 years. So, I'm 55. I got something to complain about. If you 30, you don't know nothing about them 47 years. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. Because you figure he was vice president for 8 years. He ain't been in office for another 4. So 12 years. If you're 30, you were 18. You don't know nothing about him being a senator or what he did or didn't do. It didn't happen to you. And in all this time, politically speaking, who was our favorite president before Obama? It was Clinton. Who did the crime bill get approved up under? Clinton. Now, the one pure power that the president has, the one undeniable power that he has that nobody can take from him, is he can veto anything he wants to. Just marinate with that. Just marinate. But before you speak on the crime bill, read it and understand cities, states, counties, they was prosecuting long before the crime bill came out. Long before. They was already expanding sentencing. They just wanted a federal guideline that they could use to try to act like they were mirroring. But Cobb County got a two-strike policy. The feds say three strikes. So the federal law works for federal crimes and federal crimes only. That's why you can smoke marijuana in Atlanta, but you cannot smoke marijuana in Fulton County. You cannot smoke marijuana at the airport. But we don't want to get that part of the story, hey Cheryl, because we don't want to read and become informed. We just want to make excuses. We just want to make excuses. Because if you know federal law, it's a lot of stuff you wouldn't do. But the feds ain't really worried about you like that. You're not at their level. I hate to say it to some of y'all. Well, not any of you guys. But a lot of people want to be federal criminals. You're just not that big a criminal player. You local. You local. Ain't nobody else gonna know about your crime. You look at, oh, what's the guy name that did the courthouse shooting? He shot a federal agent. Technically, that was a federal crime. And the feds were thinking about taking it on. I think that was part of the plea arrangement that he ended up taking, so that the feds wouldn't prosecute him. The feds don't play about shooting their own. They don't play. When the feds come after you, ask ask Al Capone how that went. Ask Wesley Snipes. Ask who was it, Waylon Jennings? Ask all them people who got caught for tax evasion. Those are federal crimes. You don't get prosecuted at the state level for tax evasion. The feds don't play. So when you're gonna discuss politics, it needs to be something that's in your wheelhouse. Other than that, sit back and listen. Other than that, just sit back and listen. I spent 6 months in Saudi Arabia. I listened to the Muslims talk about their religion. I didn't impart nothing because I didn't know nothing. I just sit back and listen. When they gave me the chance, I asked questions. But I didn't sit there and tell, oh, y'all should be Christian. I'm listening because I want to learn. And that's what we don't do. Learn, then you can speak from a place of information. When they say something, you look it up. Back in that time, it was a whole lot harder. But in this new age, y'all see how easy it was for me to see how many counties there are in Georgia? I've been here the bulk of my life. I don't know how many counties there were here. Now I know. Google was just that quick. When you want to know something, Google it, look it up. Look it up. But before we start passing judgment, have an idea of what we're talking about. Know the context of it. Know what was going on in the time. Know what was going on. And then talk about the inadequacy of the system, but know that you're talking about your local system for the most part. Know that. When we're talking about this election, know what's at stake for certain groups of people. For certain groups of people, there's nothing at stake for them. They don't have the same list of priorities. They got no family. All they got is the stock market. All they got is them, and they trying to amass amounts of money, and they trying to gain power. And understand this, personal observation. There are lots of people who will vote for 45 simply to preserve the whiteness of the country. There are lots of people who will vote for 45 simply for the stock market. There are lots of people who will vote for 45. There are lots of people who look like me who will vote for 45 simply because we want to have an excuse. I made the post about racism. I've worked with racists. I've dealt with racists. And I had to explain. You may believe that Biden is a racist. And if he is, he's going to lose his card because no racist will ever put a black person in charge if something happens to them. Do you realize if Biden dies or becomes incapacitated, Harris would run the free world? No racist will ever put a person of color in that position. Ever. Ever. She could have been the Secretary of State. She could have been the AG. She could have been a ton of things. Had he elected to have Elizabeth Warren run with him or Bernie Sanders run with him or somebody else white, you might have had a better argument for saying he's still a racist. But with him picking a woman of color, and now y'all want to question her blackness because y'all trifling, that take away the racist card. It just means we want to have more excuses. Y'all would have been okay with Michelle or Oprah. which is retarded since neither one of them are politicians. Not having a politician, ain't that showed y'all a little something? But anyway, so on that note, the topic is having these conversations. See, I've had these conversations. Some of them have been heated with people, but we never got into the name calling stage. But some people will listen to things that they don't like. Roy used this, and I forgot to use it as a hashtag. We call these uncomfortable conversations because I could sit back and tell you all the things you want to hear. I could get 20,000 views by saying all the politically correct things that everybody want to hear. Those that know me know that that's not who I am. Everybody got a choice in life. Everybody got a choice. For those of y'all who spend time with me, welcome back, Wanda, Brian, whenever he can stay out of trouble, Samuel. This is about trying to educate people. Whether you like the story or not, do some research. If you think I'm wrong, show me where I'm wrong. Don't tell me you feel like I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong. I mean, we spent 10 minutes on the last show with somebody making dumb blanket statements, but they could have no proof. And that's what we like to do: deflect and redirect. If you don't have a link or something, then there's a thing. Go to CNN.com and it tells you because Trump said he kept all his promises, and it goes down the list of the promises he didn't keep, that he did not keep. Wonder why? He didn't. Mexico didn't pay for the wall. He ain't come up with a new health care plan. Um, the stocking, but there's certain things he didn't do. Didn't even come close. Make America great again. For lots of people, that meant letting white people be on top. They're a dying breed. They hold on with their last straw. But that's DVP talking. But when I give you factual data about what they've done, who's a pedophile, who's a sexual, or who's a sex offender, look them up yourself. Don't let these Russian bots keep telling you stuff and you run with it. You know. Well, yeah, Roy, pop on back up on the screen because you my political guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is the president not trying to use the United States government to defend him in a rape case against Ellen, whatever her name is? Ain't that what Barr just tried to do, saying he was acting in his official capacity as the president? Ain't that the gist of that case?
I missed that. I know at some point he was trying to get them to do that, but that's why he ended up, if I'm not mistaken, having to hire Giuliani. And all of his personal legal stuff has to go through Giuliani. His What it is though is that the attorney general, if I'm not mistaken, the attorney general still has to be involved because that there's a reason that a sitting president doesn't testify because it's a matter of everything that he can testify to is a matter of national security. So
Right,
that you get
but
him. So I don't know if he's trying to. That could be the whole point of him, doing the stuff. There is a rumor, of
yeah,
course,
but
going around, and most people think that's why he's trying to win the election now, so that he can't go to court.
well, and no, so he don't go to prison.
No, not even the court. He won't even go. You
No,
won't. You will not
no,
get a
no, no. I'm saying
president.
right. That's saying because the statute of limitation will expire on certain things. Because he knew if he lose, and this is one of the things I saw that was real amazing to me. If he loses, let's see if two things happen. One, whether or not he flees the country. Two, whether or not he resigns as president, lets Pence take over and pardon him. Those are two interesting things that I never thought of, and he could legally do that.
Yeah, he could step down and get pardoned. That he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can definitely step
So
down.
and,
Pence can
and
take over. He can do
right,
that anytime before January. At this point.
exactly. So
Yeah.
he could stay in power and just say, "Hey, I ain't going through this," and that's one of them things that never occurred to me till the guy presented. I was like, "That make a lot of sense," especially once he knows the outcome of the election, and he
Right.
will know by December 1st whether or not he's coming back. He will know.
It ain't gonna take that long. December. I know
I'm just
that's
saying
what.
he'll know by then.
Yeah.
And that's one of them things like, damn, that's an interesting concept because who would think that a president will leave just to get pardoned? But then who would think that we'd have a president that was this abusive with power? But this is one of those conversations that you cannot get around. You cannot get around them because of what's going on, because of all the things that he's been implicated in, the tax evasion, the this, the that, the this, the that, the. And then somebody said, he came in saying he was going to drain the swamp, but it's been all his people who've been indicted. All he's done is what most presidents have refused to do: make their appointees political. Because CDC should not be political. DHS, no office should be political. You never hear generals talk about their political affiliations. You never hear any of the workers talk about their political affiliations. The judges ain't supposed to talk about their because they're supposed to work for the what they call it, the country.
Right.
But the new bill that the new order that Trump just did is taking away the safety net of the Faucis and make them all fireable immediately if they don't align with what the president thinks. That was one of the ones that got pushed up under the cover. But he's changing the way the federal employees work now. They used to have realistically they had immunity. They couldn't be fired without cause. He's changed it. They can be fired without cause now. And we're talking 30, 40-year lifetime appointees, people who are good at their job. But he don't want you to be good at your job. He wants you to be good at protecting him. And to me, that's a big issue. That's a big issue. But what do I know? Um, so we touched on religion, sex. We got into crime, and I'm sorry, we talked really about religion and politics, and even with the sex, there's just certain things that you shouldn't discuss with people who are not open minded, because everybody starts wanting to name call, we cyberbully, we throw shade. If Roy wants to do something that I find that I don't like, the first thing I'm gonna do is say, "Ooh, that's nasty." Why? It's just something I don't do. Why it's got to be nasty? So why am I trying to slick shame Roy for doing something that I don't do? And that's what we do. Oh, no, no, no. Like I see the post, somebody said, "Who does this?" Oh, it said who does it. It's a pretty simple thing. You can either say yes or no. It don't ask you for judgment. It's kind of like when I make a post, and I made a simple post. How many of you have been victims of the crime bill or victims of a crime? Tell me, because I don't think that many of us have been victims of the crime bill. And people want to come on there and change the narrative. What I need to do? No, I'm asking for a specific reason because I need to know what people's objection to the crime bill is. And if you ain't been affected by it, why is it bothering you? Why is it bothering you? See, I have gay friends. Do I oppose gay marriage? No, no, I don't. Well, you don't think that's unnatural? And I said the same thing I heard a comedian say. Gays should have the right to be unhappily married just like straight people. They shouldn't get no special pass. And he said in a joking manner, but it's still serious. Let them be unhappily married like the rest of us. Why do I care? Why do I care? If that's what makes them happy, let them do it. Oh, that's an abomination. That's this. Now I'm trying to play judge and jury, but I want people to respect me for my opinion. I want them to respect me for the fact that I want to have two or three women. And you know what? I got a quick question. Roy, come on back up here. I'm just pimping Roy today. He wasn't doing nothing though. We love to judge people for their history, and we love to hold a grudge against them. But Roy, can you name like four of our greatest black leaders? Let me see what you come up with right quick in your mind.
Four of our greatest black leaders. You mean okay?
America, and they got to be American.
Okay, see, so you changed my list then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and
Because I don't want none of the Garveyisms and stuff.
well, yeah, because you knew that was the first place I was gonna
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
Because that's my mentality as far as heroes. So let's see. So here's where I'd say that we have to quantify certain. But no, you know what? I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it in modern
Yeah, yeah.
times.
Well, it's for a reason. It's a
Yeah,
subliminal thing. But
I
give me
got
your
you.
four right quick.
I got you. To me, I definitely would say Martin. I would say Rosa
Okay.
Parks. Um, I would say, let's see. Whew. See, I have a I have a let me quantify this because now
But
it's
just give me.
because I
I'm
can't.
trying to
But
get
see, this
something.
this is why. Okay, well, because I'm having a difficult time.
Okay, would
Do
you
okay.
let me
Well, you
just?
know
Would
what?
you put
Okay, so
Malcolm?
would I put
Would you
Malcolm
put
X in?
Malcolm X on the list?
Actually, yes, he was going to be one of the other
Okay,
ones.
and Malcolm X is my main point. Who was Malcolm X before Malcolm X?
Oh,
What did Malcolm X
he was what, Chicago Red, Shorty Red, whatever the
and what did he
nickname
do?
was. He was a thug.
And
He was
what
a drug dealer.
he, he was a drug dealer. He was a pimp. Did he
Right.
apologize? But he's one of our leaders. So I'm confused on why we expect more from another group of people because he learned from his mistakes and he became to be one of our greatest people.
So
Do we harp on the fact of what he used to do?
right.
Did he ever say, I'm sorry for being a pimp? No, he didn't. And what's the phrase? What's better than an apology? What's the one something that's way better than an apology?
Change behavior.
Change behavior.
That's it.
So why is it we sitting back wanting something, acting like something didn't exist, and we got this double standard? Because Malcolm X is in my top list. And I said, but ain't nobody holding him accountable for his past, and he was undesirable. So why is it we holding? And nobody asked him to be a pimp. Wasn't a bunch of black churches out saying, "Hey, Malcolm, I'm sorry, Chicago Red. You know what we need for you to do? We got some cute women who ain't got no job. Can you put them on the strip so these guys can have something to do, so they don't break in people's houses?" Nobody went to him and said that. Nobody. But he's at the top of most our lists. He damn sure in most everybody's top 10. So when we got these standards that are unrealistic because we keep changing from person to person, and I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I just wanted you to say his name, and I should have
Oh
just
no,
said it
no.
myself.
Well,
But
yeah. I mean,
but he's on most people's list.
yeah.
But it doesn't change who he started out
Who
with.
he was.
It doesn't change the fact that you know, but we still hold him in high esteem. Him change his name don't change who he was. So I guess I want Joe to change his name to Joe X or Joe L. I don't know. But that my point was, if we're gonna hold people accountable for their past, let's hold everybody accountable for their past. Other than that, realize that people grow and they change. Some for the better, some for the worse. But once that change is in effect and we see change behavior that's acceptable, we don't keep punishing them for that. When we have children who do bad shit and we punish them that first time and they stop doing it, we don't keep bringing that shit up when they, when, oh, when, my little girl at 3 years old would never keep her room clean. Should I bring that shit up when she 18? Remember, you always kept your room nasty. That's who you are. You ain't gonna never be no. Really? Because 20 years ago, your room was nasty. So that's who you are for life. 20 years ago? 20 years ago. You still holding me accountable for that. And this is where we got to stop being so emotional. This is where we got to stop being so Russian bodies and let people tell us what we should be upset about. Know when you're really upset about something. Yes, I get upset when I see black people trying to bring us down for the wrongest of reasons. Yes, I get super upset when I see black people who have a singly minded, um, selfish agenda. I don't care for Jesse at all. I don't care for Al Sharpton at all. See, where I can go back with me on this. Back in the day when we first started, why did Al Sharpton get run out of Ferguson? Or was it Jesse? Because they went up there asking for money
Yeah,
to help
and
them.
and they and the people got him out. Actually, I don't even think. I think it started in the. It wasn't just Ferguson. Some happened in Jenna. I was there when something happened in Jenna, Louisiana. Um,
Yeah, but I know we
yeah,
talked about on when we
on the
first
show,
started. It came
right?
up on the show. They ran him out of town because when he first got there, he started asking for money.
It was either it was one of the two because it was either for the National Action Network, the NAN network that the Sharpton has, or it was for the Rainbow Coalition. And they got up there and
But
somebody just basically took the mic from him.
and I've held a grudge against Sharpton ever since the Tawana Brawley case. He's never apologized for putting NYPD through all the stuff that she claimed was fake later on. He ain't never retracted none of his statements, and he put them through the ring. And don't get me wrong, NYPD is corrupt, but they didn't do nothing that time. They didn't. But did Al Sharpton ever come out and say, "Yo, I made a mistake. Tawana Brawler lied to me and threw me on the bus"? Because that ain't what we do. We just say, "Oh, they just did something. I just didn't catch them." That's not an apology. That's a deflection and redirection that you made a mistake. We don't like to do that. See, I ain't never said this to nobody. And I ain't gonna apologize now. But it was a mistake. It was a mistake in hindsight for me to leave JBN to go somewhere else. But I needed to grow. And me and Roy needed to miss each other to see if it was a good combination. I came back. Can I say it was a mistake? In truth, I can't. I learned something. I learned stuff. I learned that Roy was a whole lot better because he was my first. I didn't know how good he was because I didn't have nothing to compare him to. It's
Let's
kind of
use
like,
the word producer in that whole scenario. Cause just saying I was
what
your
did I call it?
first, just cause saying you was my first, I
Okay,
was your
yeah.
first, that don't sound right.
He was
I
my
was your first
okay.
producer.
He's my first producer. But it's kind of like the first car you got. In your world, it's the greatest. That little Volkswagen or that beat up Tercel that we was driving. We thought it was a shit because it was our first car. Till you got in your friend's car, then you realized you had a piece of shit. You had to move up. But Roy wasn't that. But I didn't have nothing to compare it to. Once I went out and got my feet wet and tried some other things, I could come back and make a wise decision. Now I'm informed. So now I can say I'm a deal with Roy. So now when people reach out to me and say, "Hey man, can you come now with network?" And I listen. I mean, because I'm going to still listen because I would be a fool not to listen. Roy would be a fool not to listen if somebody came to him and said, "Roy, I want to do a show on Wednesdays from 6 to 8." And Roy going to be like, "Yo, my boy got a show now." And somebody say, "Roy, I will give you $5,000 to get that slot." What you think Roy's supposed to Roy, what you going to do for real?
Call you and be like, "Yo, D, we need to switch your day. Either that
and,
or your
and
time. One of the two."
right. And if I don't want to switch, I'm gonna put Roy in an uncomfortable position. But eventually, he gonna make it known that I need to switch. Not that I should switch, that I need to because he needs to do what's best for him and JBN, and that makes sense. Oh man, I thought we was better than man. I was with you.
And I'm
Somebody
be like,
offering him.
and I'm be like, D, you gonna get a cut. You gonna be like, oh, okay.
It's but somebody's offering him 5 grand. It only makes sense that he moves me. Unless CBS call him and tell him they want this show and they're gonna pay for it, it makes sense that he moved me to a different time. Hell, we done moved different time slots before. Hell, we done did the show on Tuesdays, on Thursdays. Shit, I don't like doing them on Monday because of football, and I don't like doing them on Thursdays because of football. Um, there's no record. Yeah, they sent him home. I just remember because me and Robert we was on air when we was on air talking to them. They called in. But I don't care for him. I will admit though, he did a great eulogy. He did a great eulogy. I can't say that my distaste for him in that instance overrides my common sense. There are some things that he still like. He just would never be somebody that I would invite to my dinner. If I got a chance to sit down with somebody, Al Sharpton wouldn't be that guy that I would pick. But if I was invited to an event he was at, I would go. If he said he wanted to talk to me, I would go. If he asked me what my problem was with him, I would tell him. He can tell me what happened, and I may change my whole thought process because I don't know the inner workings of everything and why he did what he did. He may have been trying to bring awareness to NYPD. Makes sense, but you didn't say that. So all I can go by is what I know from my end, and that's why you don't ever see me bash him. I just tell you I don't care for him, but I never bash him. I tell you why I don't care for him, and I'm done with that. Um, Religion, sex, and politics. Somebody tried to
Hey,
get me to have Umar. Yes.
oh my bad. Yeah, before we jump to, well, no, we'll wait. I'll wait till we get close to the end. Go ahead.
Okay. Somebody tried to get me to have Umar Johnson on my show because he was coming to Atlanta. No, no, and hell no. I know somebody who is close to him who's like, "Yo, man, you just got to meet him and talk to him." No, I seen enough videos. I've seen enough videos. I've seen enough. I got a problem with men who threaten women. And y'all who watch my page know that if you ever want to get deep on my shit list, threaten a woman. There are women who upset me all the time. Guess what I do?
Walk
I
away.
either block them, I just cut off Facebook. But you're not finna hear me start degrading women, talking about I'm gonna jump on them, or I'm gonna get my squad to jump on them, which is what Snoop did, which is why he's there, which is what Umar did. Once you threaten a woman publicly, I ain't got nothing for you. That's just who I am. Um, Look at that. They posting links. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Um,
Yeah, I saw that.
but I don't push my dislike for people on other people. Hell, Roy been around people that I don't care for. This is business. You know what I do? I stay in my lane. I'm not finna sit back and make Roy miss out on an opportunity just because of somebody I'm not in favor for, unless I can tell him they did something that's heinous and that's detrimental to JBN. I ain't finna put Roy in that spot. Now, Roy might get at me later and say, why you ain't tell me? And I'm gonna have to tell Roy because I didn't see where was my place because I didn't know of anything heinous. You know, yeah, I might know somebody who to me ain't a good bill payer, but I ain't finna. They pay Roy. That ain't my. Hey, he didn't pay these other people. Should I tell Roy that? No, because 9 times out of 10, I try not to taint people toward other people. My experience with somebody may not be somebody else's experience. We've all had that with that ex, where somebody said something about them and we cool. Wanda knows. Hell, Rutledge know. They know my impression that the sheriff's department wasn't one that you wanted to be friendly with because I was not a friendly guy. But when it came to business, I would give you the best I had. But when you start asking me about my family, the whole time I was a detective, there was nothing at my desk other than work stuff. No kids, no wife, no name tag, no nothing. This is business. I don't need y'all walking by. I know what my wife and kids look like. I don't need them on my desk. Well, why you supposed to make this like home? No, this is my office. This ain't home. So I wasn't personable. But if you ask me a question about business, if you ask me a question about policy and procedure, I would tell you everything because that's how I perceive business. So if Roy had somebody who was doing good business, as long as they were doing good business with him, my thoughts and feelings don't matter. Cause I'm gonna put Roy on the spot again because I like doing this. But if the Proud Boys want to come and do a show, Roy ain't gonna do it. But if they say, "Hey, Roy, we're gonna do it for 10,000," Roy gonna still take their money. He might give them a crappy product, but he gonna take their money because money pay bills. Money does what money does.
No, I won't. No, and the no, I won't mean I won't give them a crappy service. If they look, let me and I have to say this to people for one. I have several different philosophies on a lot of different stuff. As a media organization, it is our response. No, let me clarify that. As a black media organization, it is our responsibility to inform black people about everything that is going on. Not the Democratic agenda, not the Republican agenda, not the
Right.
Green Party agenda, everybody damn agenda. So if the crowd boys say they want to come and talk and do what they want to do on here, guess what? As long as they write the check that they getting charged for, we will let them come on. Now I will tell them the same thing I tell everybody else as it relates to slander, liable, blah blah blah. We get all our legal stuff out the way. You start doing that shit, you on your own. We're just your vehicle. Why though? People say, well, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Because if you don't know, I'm like, that's how black people have been tricked, manipulated, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and had Plymouth Rock
And let us
land on
straight.
you and let it right and let it run amok, let it straight, all that. Because we don't listen to what other people they tell you what the hell they doing. They talk about what they're doing to us, what they're going to do to us, what they're doing to prepare for all of the pending and upcoming racial wars. Dude, they are on live YouTube pages, live podcasts every day talking about how they are training their 7-year-old kids to load guns and set them up while they're firing and shooting them at other people. They're talking about how they're training it, and we sit up here playing video games and doing other stuff, and smoking weed. Be like,
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah, that's
thing.
right.
What
Yeah,
we've got to
no,
learn to
we gotta know.
And I tell people, I'm in over 100 groups on Facebook. Some are not the kind of groups I should be in, but I need to know what people are talking about. So I sit back and I listen. When they had the whole group about them making the Little Mermaid black, people, y'all just need to listen. Sometimes you want to argue with people and you get nothing out of it. You're losing valuable intelligence because they will tell you the plan because they speak openly and freely. Sometimes the best thing you can do is sit down, STFU, and pass the information to people who can do something. But if you keep getting kicked out, you never know what's going on. You never know. So it ain't that they bum rushing us because they put the plan out there publicly. We just not patient enough or smart enough to listen. They're not playing. They're not. I hate the saying. I hate to say, oh, they playing chess while we playing checkers. No, they're playing checkers and we're playing tic tac toe. They not coming up with no grand scheme. They playing simple games, but they know our emotions will have us talking and revealing ourselves. People say, well, up until I started doing this, man, you sure don't talk a lot. I spent my life, I spent the bulk of my time at the sheriff's department doing undercover work. Before that, I spent my time as a criminal. You know what you learn not to do? You learn not to talk. Because you don't want to accidentally say the wrong thing. You learn to listen. This is what made me good at what I do. I became a listener. I could sit back and I could go to my people and we could come up with a plan to do this because they never knew who was the fly on the wall. Because I wasn't sitting there making faces. You know, one of the guys I had to arrest was he used to beat his woman. If you know me, you know how much I hate that. But he was a major drug dealer. I couldn't say nothing to him. I could, when it was time to lock him up, I was the happiest man on the planet. But I had to sit through some of that stuff without showing a whole lot of emotion. The best I could do is say, listen, man, I ain't got time for this. I need for us to do what our thing so we can get my business done. And he, one of the craziest things that ever happened. I was buying drugs from this guy. He had a really beautiful girlfriend, really beautiful. Used to beat her. She had a son, little kid, 6 or 7. One day we had a drug deal set up. I go over his house to do the drug deal. It is stormy. He made them go stand in the rain. He made them stand in the rain. That bothered me. He brought the woman back in, made her put a tape in. It's a tape of him having sex with her. Rough sex. Rough, unwanted sex. She had to sit there. She had to sit there. Because she said, why are you playing this? He said, shut up, get this man something to drink, and sit down. And watch this tape with her being abused. It made me sick to my stomach. But I got to stay in character and know who I am and what my purpose is. And this is one of the things that sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do to win the war. Not every battle. Roy got a bigger vision. Roy gonna do. Roy, if somebody offer Roy something, what Roy want to be? Sometimes you have to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You just don't want to go against your principle. And what Roy said was, why wouldn't he have him on here? That's how you get intel. Because they're going to come on here wanting to show out. But while they're showing out, they're going to tell you the little things that they do, how they do this, how they prep for this, what they're training for. That's intel for us so we know what we got to do. Um, One of the things that I'm most disappointed about with this whole voting thing, I'm super disappointed. We knew what's been going on. So with all the Democrats, all the Republicans, all the people who stressing the voting, how is it? And this is where my ignorance is kicking because I don't know the whole process. But we couldn't have did something for the people who are invalid or can't get out, so that 2 or more people can go and go door to door to let these people vote and collect their votes. Film them. You got somebody in the car filming the whole process. They go there, they let them feel that. Why couldn't we do that for people? Because they can't get out to vote in person. This whole voting by mail, it ain't as easy as people make it. There's a lot of stuff you got to fill out that they not used to. Why wasn't this done ahead of time? Religion, sex, and politics. Everybody claims they ain't happy now with their selections. So right now is the time to start coming up with a third party, with a fourth party, with a fifth party, so that they can go ahead and start making their agenda known and what they want to do. See, we knew that 45 was gonna run, and when all the powers that be, the famous people came up in June and started talking about who should or who shouldn't run. You can't wait to June to plan for this race.
So hold on.
This should have started a long time ago. Go ahead, Roy.
So yeah, I'm gonna jump in on you. We do not need another political party.
I,
Um,
I, I don't think we do, but I'm
no,
just
no,
saying for the people who claim that
no,
all
no.
this is,
Even that,
and not a party, a candidate. I'm sorry, a
well, not
candidate.
not even a candidate. We need a PAC. What's called a PAC? It's a political action committee. We need, because see, the reality of it is we need to stay engaged in both the Democratic and the Democrat and Republican parties, because they, whatever we can say whatever we want, they are going to be in power for the next 20 to 30 years. Because why? It's one, it's going to take that long to groom enough people to be able to get into these positions to finally get them out if that's what we really want to do. So we need a political action committee whose primary job is pushing our agendas and or our agenda from that group,
Of Fitz.
and they can go into each one of those camps. Just like what Ice Cube said that he was trying to talk to everybody. Like I said, people
Right.
killed me with this. Why y'all mad with Ice Cube? Because he went and talked to 45's people. Dude, he's the president. You're supposed to, if Martin Luther King had not went and talked to what's his name, Johnson, who was
Lyndon B. Johnson
who was one of the a known racist,
and
it
the POTUS.
right. What would have happened if he hadn't done that? We wouldn't have the Civil Rights Act.
And, and,
It's
and,
like we
and
got to get past this. Don't talk to people because he ain't gonna do nothing. Who gives a damn what we know? Because you can't hold him accountable for nothing you ain't told him, nothing that you ain't
exactly.
had a conversation about with him.
And that's the crazy part. I want to talk to racists because of whatever, but as we found out with Lyndon B. Johnson, a lot of racists or people who we like to pre-label, they never heard from somebody who truly had our best interests at heart. One of the things that I'm personally against. I'm against all parties. Why not just let the best candidates run? Period. Period. You know why? There, there, right now there really isn't. There is a slight divide on Democrats and Republicans on certain issues, but let's just pick the best candidate. Period. The top two vote getters from primaries, not prime. What do they call the election before this? Primary? No, what's the one
Primaries,
before this,
yes,
Roy?
it's
Yeah, the
primaries are
top
each
two vote
party.
getters.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they shouldn't have that. But you got 10 people who want to run. The top two vote getters get to make it a Super Tuesday. The top two vote getters, period. And to me, that helps us out, as opposed to picking one. We picking the best party from somebody that don't nobody care about, and whatever it is. But that's something that we should get into because most of us don't truly understand the difference between Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, Green parties, Blue parties, all these different parties, and at the end of the day, it boils down to money. Some people want to support a candidate. I looked at some of the candidates for president the other day, just perusing. There's like eight, I want to say 10 or 11 people who were on in certain states. They still on ticket. Some of them don't have a vice president name, but they're on certain things. I mean, Kanye had a
hell,
vice president
I was
name,
about to say Kanye's
but
still on.
yeah, but he wasn't in Georgia, but he's on in a couple other states.
Right.
Um, but it's a lot that we don't know that's going on. So when people say, "Oh, we gotta take on these progressive ideas," and I asked somebody who wanted to vote for Kanye, because I asked the question for those who don't want to vote for 45 or Biden. Tell me why you want to vote for that person. It wasn't meant to be a dig at nobody. I want to know what they did to earn your vote. What are they talking about? Because I ain't heard nothing from them. I ain't seen no ads. I ain't seen no Facebook page. Ain't nothing popped up. So what is it that this other person did? And the best sense I got is they ain't Biden or Trump. Which, hey, you earn the right to get that vote. That's what you want to do. But tell me why. Tell me why. I mean, if you're looking for something to vote for somebody on, you can't tell me you're going to vote for somebody who ain't running on nothing. And somebody, they have a black agenda, and that's cute. And Roy has a whole action plan. But at the end of the day, we gotta remember we're still Americans first. When we keep trying to divide, one of the biggest things I always had a problem with, I've been abroad. No other country asks you what color you are. No other country. Just this well developed country. If we get rid of this whole black white thing, to me that's a part of this whole racial divide. Because you know what they call uh, white South Africans? Africans. They're still Africans. Same thing they call black South Africans. But they don't have black and white over there. Clearly we know they got black and white. But they don't do it. They don't do it. We do that. It keeps us down. This whole credit score thing, that's a whole nother show. Other countries don't do credit scores like we do. These are things that we have to look at when we start talking about, as Roy said, what should black people truly want? What should be on our agenda? We want police reform, but do we know what police reform means? Because I will tell you, if you look at the police shooting from Philadelphia, and somebody said, why didn't they use tasers? They didn't have tasers. See, there needs to be a streamline so that everybody's on the same level. I shouldn't have to, when people ask me questions, I shouldn't have to keep trying to figure out what murder is in Philadelphia versus murder in Georgia versus murder in California. That's something the feds need to pick up so that everything is standardized. To me, that's part of police reform, but that ain't what most people pushing for. Because if you got better training and better understanding of the laws, I ain't looked at the case, so I'm not going to pass judgment on what happened. But if they didn't have tasers, that's a departmental issue because they were never given an intermediate weapon to which to stop a threat. We can blame them all they want to. I know the system. If I don't train you for something, I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for that because I didn't put you in a position where you could win. I can't tell Roy, I'm going to start a show and we're just going to do it till I get tired. What the hell is that about? I might get tired at 6:30. I might get tired at 10:30. But Roy still got something to do. We got to put each other in a position to win. And when that position to win is not there, we got to hold the right people accountable. I told you, everybody gonna go after the cops, but why not go after the sheriff, the chief? Why do these guys have the materials needed to defend themselves with less lethal force options? Ain't nobody gonna say that. Your activists ain't gonna say that. The officer's gonna get suspended with pay maybe, or they got put on desk duty, which is supposed to happen pending investigation. Because if the department didn't give them a less lethal option, guess what their choices were? To shoot. Now, were there too many shots? Maybe. I can't tell you when you're scared what you're gonna do. I can't tell you. It's cute that we think these things, but hey, I've seen buildings catch on fire and parents leave their kids behind. Now, if you ask them on a calm day, oh, my kids ain't, I'm gonna grab my kids first. When the fire hit, that mentality changed. Because some of us, survival is the basic instinct, and it's the only instinct we got is to protect us first.
That's like that dude.
Firemen,
That I don't know
go
if you
ahead.
saw it. That's like this dude. They had the picture of him. Him and his daughter. Little kid couldn't have been no more than 4 or 5. Um, and this pit bull got from behind this fence. And dude, when I tell
Yeah,
you,
it was on my page.
he literally jumped on the car and is fanning his daughter to run. Someone's like, nigga, if you if you
But
don't
then
get
you
in
seen the
here,
woman come out. You saw that woman come out there.
right? Well, if I'm not mistaken, the dog came out of her yard, so I think it was her dog, whoever it was. But
Yeah,
still, I'm like, dude, I didn't stepped in front of my kids in situations like that. We be out playing or something, and a dog come running down the street. I'm getting between them and the dog. I'm
right.
like,
But
but
it's
like you said, it's a basic instinct for some people.
right. And people will say it, but I've seen people under stress not caring nothing about their kids. They protected them.
Yeah,
Do I fault them for it? I mean, I know it. I know what it is, and whether you like it or not. That's why I give police and firemen a whole different, and even paramedics a whole different level of respect because against everything that's innate to them, they run to danger. They run to danger. Police run to shots. Dumbest thing going. It is the dumbest thing going. I can say that I was a cop, but I hear shots and I don't look for cover. I'm trying to figure out where the shots coming from. That's not normal. That is not normal. You see firemen going back to get people out of a burning building. That is not normal. I don't give a damn about that jacket they got on. I don't give a damn about that water hose. That is not normal. But this is what happened because everybody says, oh, no, no, I'm going to grab my kid. Yeah, okay. The tape says you're a liar. The tape says this. So when we start talking about, I don't even know how we got to that subject. Right, you got me confused. Am I drinking? Speaking of drinking, make sure you get your glass. Little Things by Khalil.
Oh well, look,
Uh,
we got a couple of minutes, so I need to do this thing by next week.
okay, do you think about next week?
So next Tuesday, of course, we know is the election, and we are going to be the Jericho Broadcast Networks is going to be hosting a um, a live conversation throughout the evening of of the election. Now, our purpose really is not to focus on and worry about who's going to win. That's information we're going to find out regardless. Because the real issue is what are we going to do afterwards? Because it doesn't matter who is in office, we still have stuff that needs to get done. We are going to be having law enforcement, public school education, college, specifically black college administrators. Um, there's one other group that we had here. Dog, I can't believe I forgot what the other group was. Oh, elected officials, black elected officials from different parts of the country who are going to be on with us all night and going to be talking about some of the things and some of the movements that we can do to go forward. Now, it will be broadcast live. It will be simulcast here to the Random Thoughts with DVP page. Um, if you're in the Atlanta area, you can actually get a free ticket to come out. I'm gonna put the link in the message thing, and we want people to come out. Now we're only doing 50 tickets. We will be social distancing, taking people's health and stuff into consideration. So you don't have to worry about coming out and and being around a bunch of people. You can get a if you'd like to get a table, you can reach out to us about getting getting a group for your table. You can get up to 5 or 6 people at the table, and just let us know, and we can set that up for you with the free tickets. All we're asking is you're going to come out, support a black business, and be able to get something to drink or to eat, and that's all we're going to be doing. But we will have these conversations all night long. I'm gonna get DVP to host one with some law enforcement folks. He won't be in the building, but he'll be just like he is on
I
the
ain't gonna be
show.
in the building.
So we definitely want folks to come out and get involved in that. But like I said, it's next Tuesday night. We'll be starting like right about 8:15 is when we're gonna be doing that. And the thing just went up on there. I'm gonna put the
So
flyer up
Tuesday
here
night,
a
I
little
need to
bit.
free my schedule up.
Well, at least we'll work. We're gonna be working on the schedule for it, so you'll be able to. I won't need you probably, but for 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes twice. We may do something early with the law enforcement and then bring them back. It's going to be down near the comedy Uptown Comedy Club. We're actually going to be in their event center that is literally right next door, but we're still using their address. So it's 39 or 397 North Central Avenue. And again, I just put the link so that you can get your free tickets on there. So please sign up and do that. That's Ellis Dean. He's going to be the primary host of Thoughts and Moments Radio. I'll be there as well. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff. But like I said, we're going to be about moving an agenda forward going into the process after the election. Because, see, the real key, no matter who wins, is what are we going to do at the next midterm? Because that's when we're going to have to be extremely engaged and moving around with the things that we need to do. So, if y'all have any questions, reach out to DVP. He'll put you in touch with me. Or my page is open, so y'all can, inbox me. You may want to send me a message on my page because I don't always check the spam or the new messages from people.
He called
Um,
y'all spam. I heard it.
but yeah, so and we're looking for people who want to get involved in the conversation. So, all right.
So if you politically savvy and you got something you want to say, you want to talk, hey, hit me up. Cause they looking. I can do politics at a certain level because I know what I know, but it's not what I want to do. I did more of it because there was so much misinformation going on. And if I was being honest, I told you guys before, Harris was not my first choice, but 45 is not in my top 2,000 choices. I would vote for Batman first. Um, can you use curse words? You curse area? You don't even know no curse words. But anyway, that's how it goes. I gotta run out because it's after 8. So y'all know how we do this. If y'all got something y'all want me to talk about, inbox me or call me, text me if you got my phone number. Um, if you want to host a show, I can't point you to a better direction. Get with Roy Evans or check with my JBN and what's going on. I mean, and be prepared to have uncomfortable conversations. If you don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation, you want to do a show on something else. He's good with that too. You don't have to do a show like mine. You can do a cooking show. You want to do? We open all kind of stuff. He is what he is. We are doing what we're doing. We are pushing the black narrative. We want shows that are pro black. Um, but we will. He will take other shows. We want to have some. We do want to have some diversity. I'm sure he wants to have it. So if you got something, let us know. If you got a business and you want to run ads, which I'm gonna get better about doing,
Don't
running
worry,
ads during the show.
we'll be switching you
Uh,
back to that real soon. It's getting ready to become mandatory for everybody again. So
and
we will
I
enjoy
keep,
the
I keep,
breaks.
yeah, I keep forgetting. Um, so yeah, Wanda Air, if y'all want to be a part of it, get it right. Let him know. Wanda, I know how much you do research and well, oh shoot, I'm finna call it the wrong name. I only want to get in trouble. What's my friend name who always argue with me?
Barbara,
Barbara. Barbara, where you at? I know you want to be. I know this right up your alley. Um, but that's what we're gonna do. So y'all know what it is. It's after 8. I enjoyed this time we had together. I didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot about sex. I'll say that for after the election we're gonna talk about sex. So up until when we're gonna do a special show Tuesday, Roy. Is that what you're saying?
yep, we'll put the information out soon.
All right, so I'm gonna give y'all some updates on what's going on. If you don't follow, it's two things I need you to start doing. Yeah, you sorry, but I'm gonna let you hold that. I need you to, Roy. What's the app they need to download?
It's the MyJB. Hold on here. It's the
Okay,
MyJBN app. You can find it on both Apple and Google. Just search MyJ. And actually, instead of this it should be a hyphen. So it should be MyJBN hyphen MyBCSN is what will come up. And then you can follow us on all social media at this right at MyJBN and the number one.
all right, and this is how you support black business. I need for you to, if you like the show, invite a friend to the show page. For those of y'all on my personal pages, come to the Random Thought with DVP page and interact with me so we can read your comments. If you're on my personal page on the phone, sometimes I can't read you. I can't read what you're putting. But come to my show page, Random Thoughts with DVP. Invite a friend. Like the page, follow the page. Invite a friend. Share the page. Just don't do watch parties because then I never see what they're saying because it's not coming to the live feed. All right. So until next week, 6 hours and 6 days and 22 hours of some change. Y'all know what it is. Peace, popcorn, and chicken grease. And we out.
Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred